Alrighty, everyone, how y'all doing today? We're back. It's Heroes on the Horizon with your host, part host, co-host. I really got to word that better. Charlie Sandifer
and Levi, and I am doing wonderful, Charlie. Thank you for asking how
are you doing, Levi? Doing good, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's good.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine too, Levi. Thank you for asking.
What a great start.
It's been the whole week since we've done this, and I'm sure all of our listeners are missing us so much. But
yeah, outside of the show, we hate each other. We ghost each other constantly. Mostly me.
Yeah, this man's mooching off my subscription service, so hey. It's all good. It's all good. Anyhow,
I'm a snake in the grass.
He's the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
So that's why we needed to check up on each other, because we spend most of the time just seething.
How are you guys listening to us? Doing good?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Ooh, I can hear them.
I can too.
Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, well, enough of that non-silliness. So I don't know if you guys know this, but tomorrow, I believe, is going to be a astronomical event called a super blood wolf moon, which is a fancy term for a lunar eclipse.
Sounds like a kink of some kind.
It sounds like a bad horror movie, like, watch out for the super blood wolf moon. Come to your New Year, Halloween.
I don't think anyone here is going to be able to see it because for the past week or so, it's just been entirely overcast and disgusting.
But that's not important for the radio show, because they can't see us either.
Yeah. We can pretend, though.
So, yeah. You're right. But anyway, since we're talking about a really weird lunar phenomenon, we should talk about a really weird lunar superhero.
That's right.
I don't know what that was. I'm so sorry, guys.
His name is Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
I wanted to do it before Charlie could.
Thank you.
I saw him going for it, and I was like, no.
I was going to go for it. Yeah. Moon Knight. Mark Spector. Marvel's Batman? Question mark. Who knows? Menace? Maybe. But so is Spider-Man.
Don't get me started on Spider-Man.
Spider-Man! What pictures of Spider-Man, Parker?
Everyone listening at home just had their eardrums blown out.
I'm really sorry, listeners at home.
By Spider-Man.
Anyway, before we go on there, if y'all want more of your Heroes on the Horizon on your social life or in your social media, you can follow us on Twitter at @on_heroes and the Instagram. On that gram. At heroes_on_the_horizon. People just walked by and gave us a weird look. It was hilarious.
Did they? I totally missed it.
It's all good. We're not going to pay attention to that.
This is why I keep my back to the door. I just don't even want
I had that burden to carry.
I don't need people judging me.
That's valid. I appreciate that.
Are we broadcasting out into the hallway?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can control the sound out there. I can mute it and all that jazz. But
do we always broadcast out into the hallway?
Unless we turn the volume down.
Oh. Wonderful. Okay.
This is more into the Heroes on the Horizon lore.
Yes.
We're learning.
For everyone who doesn't know, the studio we're in broadcasts the radio out into the hallway right outside the door. So everyone who walks by...
And on the internet.
Well, yes, and on the internet. But everyone who walks by can stare at us and listen to us talk. It's great.
It's really great. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, we're here on Saturdays, and no one's here on Saturdays.
Except for the...
A lot of people listen on the campus police, but hey.
It's all right. Hey, campus police, thanks for keeping us safe.
We love you guys. Thank you. I forgive you for the parking ticket. I realized I put my parking pass upside down. It was my fault. I'm sorry.
You had a parking pass, though.
I forgot it. This is important. We talk about superheroes, Levi.
Moon Knight might come and save you, though. Was it at night? Were you traveling at night when you got the parking ticket?
It was during the day.
Oh, well, then you're screwed. Sorry.
Right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's just so follow us on social media. We'll tweet at you. We'll do funny things. You can hear about our recommendations on there, and more importantly, our new feature, the comic of the week. So comic distributors every Wednesday release their new comics on Wednesdays. So every Wednesday or Thursday we'll post what we think is the best one out of that series. You can look at it and you can follow that comic. This is our ideas. And fun fact, a famous comic writer liked one of our tweets, which is not saying much, but hey, thank you, Chip Zdarsky.
I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely is, but hey.
So you can come on and be like Chip Zdarsky and like our tweets too, and we probably will care slightly less. But
you don't know who Chip Zdarsky is. He's up and coming. He's a big guy.
He's important.
He's very important.
Again, it's @on_heroes at Twitter, and on the gram, it's heroes_on_the_horizon.
We're going to workshop that name because it's kind of it's a bit clunky, I think.
I don't think that you can change the actual, like,
we picked too long of a name.
You were...
Heroes on the Horizon is a good just title. We're on the Horizon Radio talking about heroes. If you like our name, please tweet at us. If not, just be like, scream into your speaker and be like, it's a great name, Charlie.
Please go onto our Twitter or our Instagram and just private message us. Thank you. Just say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we will ghost you.
Who are we talking about today?
We're talking
Maybe
about
we're
Moon
going
Knight.
to ghost on her part. Oh my gosh. Love you. Yeah, Moon Knight. So that's enough of our social media. You probably hear this. It sounds like we're like trying to push our products on you. You don't have any products. We're not.
We are trying to push our...
We're the InfoWars of
analytics.
Social media of comic book radio shows.
We have 5 followers.
We have 10 followers, actually. Check it. And 12 and 14 on the Instagram.
See, that's just great.
I keep track of this. I actually look at the social media, unlike you, Levi.
I'm trying, okay? College is hard.
You're right.
I'm trying to write a score.
Anyway, so Moon Knight. So Moon Knight is kind of... many people see the character of Moon Knight as Marvel's Batman. And for a long... Honestly, he's also that kind of character. Now, Marvel always kind of wants to be popular, but he never quite gets traction. They're like, oh yeah, Moon Knight, read him. But people are like, okay. But he has
you should read him.
He has a big cult following, and he shares this kind of like the idea of like Marvel wants him to be popular, but can't really get him popular occasionally with characters like Captain Marvel, which might change here soon with the movie coming out. Guardians of the Galaxy was one that they wanted to be popular, but eventually did get popular.
Yeah, I was going to say, that one's popular now.
Yeah. And
deserves to be.
A team known as Champions, which is they're trying to push more as like the younger version of the Avengers.
Which I've never even freaking heard of.
Not people heard of. And there's 2 different Champions teams. One was in the 70s. It was Hercules, Black Widow, Iceman, Angel, and Ghost Rider. Why? Nobody knows. It's a weird lineup.
All of the heroes and characters that just no one wanted.
I love Hercules. He's a great character.
I mean, I believe you, but I don't think
anyone
wanted them.
But in the new one, they have like more about the newer generation of heroes, like Cyclops, like young Cyclops, Girl Vision.
Girl Vision.
Asian
Are they
Hulk.
all Vision themed?
I wish. That'd be even better. There's a whole Vision family at one point.
There
was
team
like
of
Vision,
Looksee.
Mom Vision, Boy Vision, Kid Vision, Dog Vision.
Oh, I want Dog
Vision. It was
Vision.
actually a really good run, I believe. So.
I really want Dog Vision.
Me too.
I will watch the comic just for Vision of Dog. Anyway.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Write a song about that.
No. That sounds like a horrible
standing
song.
on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. And
And I saw a Vision dog.
It's a Vision dog, my lord, in a flatbed Ford.
Slowing
Stop
down to
and
take a look at me.
Take a bark at me.
Oof.
A wolf.
Oof.
Woof.
But, no, I think, the thing about Captain Marvel is I don't think that she's going to become popular.
I want her to be. I like Brie Larson.
I think that the reaction alone to the idea of Captain Marvel, everyone going, who's this? I don't like this, is enough for it to not be popular, because a lot of people go off their first impressions, unfortunately. With I know, I see you making that face, hold on. With Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think anyone really knew what Guardians of the Galaxy was, but no one was against it. And I think everyone
there was a tree and a raccoon in it.
Yeah, everyone was like, this is pretty cool, I really like this. And I don't know if Captain Marvel is going to be able to get the same reaction, because Captain Marvel isn't that original. At least she doesn't seem that original to me.
That's valid. I can understand that point of view. I want her to get popular because, well, first off, the movie looks pretty cool because, well, Brie Larson is an excellent actor, and the CGI looks good, the suit looks awesome, and I'm really just down for the whole, 90s origin story and stuff. But I feel like it has a big uphill battle, maybe because of the character. But we have a whole Captain Marvel episode coming up eventually, which you can hear all about that.
I think if they were to make a Moon Knight movie, I think it would also ruin Moon Knight. I just don't think they could pull it off.
You want to hear a fun fact? At one point, James Gunn pitched a Moon Knight movie to Marvel, and apparently nothing came out of it.
Rip.
Right?
Rip that.
God, James Gunn.
I'm not happy about that.
But more on that eventually later.
He could have probably pulled it off.
He could have easily.
But I don't think that...
The man who made the Scooby-Doo movie could easily pull it off.
Yes. It would have to be really, really dark and gritty. It would almost have to be kind of separate from the entire MCU.
Like Blade?
Yeah, except even worse than that.
No, he's originally going to get his... Moon Knight's going to get his original character media television series debut on the Blade TV series before it got canceled.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see that working, but I also think that would also have ruined Moon Knight's thing. I feel like...
He doesn't really have a thing. That's kind of what I'm going to get into. Like,
yeah. But we'll talk about that in a second.
Anyway, so history of Moon Knight. Who was Moon Knight? So Moon Knight first appeared in 1975 in a comic called Werewolf by Night. In the 70s, one of the big things was having horror comics. So you have like Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night, Contu, The Living Mummy, things like that. It was really popular, or Swamp Thing. And so the story goes, Jack Russell, which is the character's name, which is pun intended, obviously, is a werewolf, and he kind of runs around hunting people. But there's this evil committee called the Committee, who wanted to, say, capture the werewolf and use him as a weapon and such. The evil committee liked being known as a committee. So they hired a guy named Mark Spector and gave him a costume, said, hey, you're going to be called Moon Knight because you're a former mercenary, and you got this. Why don't you take this boy out? And so it was a 2-issue long spread of Moon Knight and the werewolf fighting, and eventually Moon Knight lets him go and is like, nah, screw this. I'm going to beat up the committee now.
I'm not surprised. No one can control Moon Knight.
Right? He's his own thing. He's like David Pumpkin.
I don't think Moon Knight even knows what Moon Knight is, but gosh darn it, no one can control him.
There is so much validity to that argument right there.
Mm-hmm.
No one, he doesn't know who Moon Knight is.
Moon Knight is a tortured soul, constantly asking himself, why am I here? What am I doing? He's a continuous existential crisis because his psychology just makes so little sense. He says cool lines like, I like it when they see me coming, and then doesn't even understand what that means because, of course, that's a strategic disadvantage. He just likes it for some reason.
I think it's, yeah, but also intimidation factor. That makes sense.
He's wearing all white. He's freaking Elton John.
It means he's confident. He ain't going to get a blonde knight outfit.
Elton John just strolls into the villain's lair. What's up, guys? I'm going to play the piano.
You ever see Kingsman? The second one?
I don't know if I've seen the second one.
There's a fight scene with Elton John in it, and it's beautiful.
Is that the one where they train him and almost kill the puppy?
That's the first one.
Okay, I haven't seen since then.
Yeah, well, Elton John's in it, and it's hilarious. Check it out.
He's old at that point, though.
Check it out. Okay. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Anyway, we're getting off track here. So yeah,
it's all very relevant. Ooh,
right.
That's the actual secret identity of Moon Knight. It's Elton John.
I'd read that.
It's his fifth personality.
He has a lot of personalities. We'll get into that later.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 2 seconds.
After Werewolf by Night, he had a few one-shots as appearing in different comics because the editor at the time, Marv Wolfman, really liked the characters. Like, hey, we can make this guy big. Well, but it's all good.
Got big.
So he'd appear in Wolfman comics, Werewolf by Night comics. He'd appear in Spider-Man comics every once in a while. He'd just appear in random places, and he even joined the Defenders at one point, which is the Defenders are Marvel's superhero team that isn't a superhero team.
And the whole time he's appearing in all these different stuff, no one really explains him, right? It's all just kind of, he's just this mysterious dude.
Yeah, he doesn't have a backstory at all besides he's the character that the committee gave him a costume, was like, hey, become Moon Knight.
Yeah, so this whole time, everyone, for example, if you're listening right now and you have no idea who we're talking about, everything that we're explaining, no one else has any clue what we're talking about either.
That's valid.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but right before his series debuted, he was in a Marvel 2-in-1, which is kind of like a special comic. We'd have one character and another character's randomly team up. So you had the Thing from the Fantastic Four, and Moon Knight team up, and they gave a hint because they had one of his personalities called Jake Lockley, a cab driver, on there. It's like, wait a minute, I thought he was a Mark Spector. Why is he Jake Lockley? Does he have two identities? Which they go in depth a month later when he actually releases his own series. But it's kind of like a hype-up, I guess.
don't like that pairing. I don't like the Thing and Moon Knight as a pairing, as going out and doing things together.
It was just a one-shot.
I just don't like it.
That
doesn't work.
It worked pretty well, I think. But yeah,
I think Moon Knight needs to never pair up with anybody.
Doubt. We'll get into that. I feel like there's a few characters he teams up pretty well with. There's one where he did written by a guy named Bendis, Biker Michael Bendis, which came to this character called Echo, which I thought was really cool. But no one knows who Echo is either. But as long as it's a D-list character, he's fine, you know? He dealt with Spider-Man a lot, which was kind of cool in the Knights and stuff.
I could see him teaming up with other anti-heroes, maybe. Because I would consider
like
Moon Knight and he does or Venom sometimes. Or things like that. Maybe Deadpool. Ooh, Deadpool and Moon Knight. That would be great. I think.
I'm gonna pass on that offer.
I think that would be great.
In the second Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Punisher and Moon Knight try to track him down and stop him. Apparently, I haven't read the series, but I know that happens in there.
No,
it's Punisher and the Mr. Knight identity, like trying to stop Deadpool from killing, the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, that's amazing. I need to read that.
It's a guy with a gun and a guy with a little curved knife trying to stop a immortal superhero in a truncheon. Anyway, so who is Moon Knight? So you have the history and stuff. We kind of went off topic there. That's totally okay. So Moon Knight is the character known as Mark Spector. He was a former Marine and a former boxer who decided to become a mercenary. So while he was a mercenary, he did a lot of bad things, as mercenaries do, like raiding and pillaging, killing the youth, doing bad things. And the guy he worked with was a guy named Bushmaster, which was even more ruthless.
Ooh,
Bushmaster?
That name.
You don't like that name?
He's a hedge trimmer.
Bushmaster.
He's a hedge trimmer.
Decides to quit his business because he realized his name is very remarkable elsewhere.
Or, I probably shouldn't say that on the air, but he could be something else too.
You need to eliminate all those vines in your garden. Call the Bushmaster.
Exactly.
Has heavy duty lawn equipment, like a flamethrower,
it's near chainsaw level, but not quite chainsaw level. It's just an electric, but is he ready?
Right. He's going. Yeah, ruthless against archaeological sites and ruthless against your hedges. He's a great man.
Against your boxwoods.
Right? Right? He knows how to carve them up pretty well,
They'll look great, let me tell you.
He uses a machine gun to shape all your things, The Bushmaster.
Oh my gosh.
Call 1-800-BUSHMASTER today.
Ugh.
I don't know. That got sad right there for a second. But anyway, so his leader, Bushmaster, was kind of ruthless, and he made a friend while he was a mercenary guy named Jean-Paul Duchamp, who he called Frenchie, which is a French guy who was also a mercenary with them, who was really good at flying things, but more on that later.
I do want to point out that in some of the comics that I read, they actually reference Moon Knight's blood money as literally an endless pool. It is an endless supply of blood money.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight himself even says, one of the bad guys breaks one of his weapons, and he's like, "Oh man, that cost real money, and I don't have a job."
Right?
He's just like, "Oh, geez, got to dip into the blood money."
Right? He's got a lot of money.
I really need to start investing.
Right? Yeah. And also, when the committee hires them, and Werewolf by Night, they offer them millions of dollars to do it. So when he turns on him, he takes the money and runs too. So he has that money too at some point.
And if he ever did run out of his endless pool of blood money, which I love, endless pool of blood money, which was probably an intentional pun. I think that he would have just no qualms with just robbing a bank. In fact,
I feel like he would. I feel like Khonshu wouldn't allow it. Which more on that later. But hey,
I think maybe there are rules that I don't fully understand about the whole Khonshu thing.
Yeah,
it just seems like Khonshu would just do whatever needed to be done in order to continue kind of the purpose of Khonshu, which is to, should I say it? Protect people who are traveling in the night, which is the point of Moon Knight.
Yeah, in one sense.
Explain that.
According to Ellis, that's how it is. But shoot, what was I going to say?
Maybe we should explain Khonshu.
Well, in a second, yeah. Wait, okay. In your series, do you remember the scene in the Moon Knight where Khonshu's you need to fight the ghosts. Use the stuff you have, and he goes down the room, has a bunch of Egyptians. I don't even remember buying half this stuff.
Yeah, that was weird. It's just all of a sudden he's dressed up in just old Egyptian whatever regalia.
He doesn't remember buying it.
He doesn't remember buying
money.
And then he just smashes some ghost face. Honestly, it was so strange.
Which is the interesting question. Did he buy it or did Khonshu buy it?
Khonshu totally bought it.
Yeah.
It was Khonshu. Khonshu does half the things that I think Moon Knight thinks that he does.
You're right. Oh, anyway, so his leader Bushmaster and his friend Champ and all the mercenary friends went to Egypt where they found an archaeological dig where there's an archaeological site unearthing a tomb of Khonshu, like it was like an old Egyptian temple, Khonshu stuff, etc. Khonshu, Moon Knight. Hey, and so Bushmaster got a little handsy and decided to kill the guy running it, and Mark was like, that's horrible. We shouldn't have done that. Comes to his senses because the guy's daughter, who was like he was attracted to, was like, you're a horrible human being. And so Mark is like, I'm gonna fight you, Bushmaster. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. Bushmaster kills Mark Spector. But after he kills them, these Egyptian worshippers of Khonshu come around, take Mark Spector, place him in front of a statue of Moon Knight, and Mark begs, like, help me, bro. And Khonshu revives him and makes him his avatar here on Earth. Now, Khonshu is the Egyptian god of the night, of the moon. And so, in Ellis's run, that what Levi read, his goal was to protect travelers of the night. Which kind of take it, so like, as in, did you ever read Percy Jackson?
Maybe.
Where, like, the power of the gods are only as strong as those who believe in him?
No.
No,
wait.
Out.
The one, yeah, the Greek.
Yeah, the Greek gods.
I accidentally read the middle book.
And
then I was so confused that I didn't read any of the other ones.
I was saying at home, all of a sudden I just read a random book. I don't know how it happened. I'm a victim here.
Well, none of them have, like, numbers
That's right.
on the side. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I was just, like, picking up anything from the library that I could. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
But yeah, so depending on who's right, Khonshu's either a really benevolent god or he's a really horrible human being. Well, god. Because, like, sometimes he'll be like, sometimes he's protecting people of the night, other times he needs tribute and wants Mark to do things sort of fear Khonshu again. So, like, at one point he had Mark Spector try to cut off people's faces so people would fear, like, hey, Moon Knight and Khonshu. Yeah, he did that, and he did it to Bushmaster, actually, which is wild.
They cut really off with his own hedge trimmer.
Right? Yeah, so, like, they were fighting, and Moon Knight fell off the building, broke his legs, Bushmaster came down, Moon Knight stabbed Bushmaster and then cut his face off. And then he went to depression because he had broken legs.
How did he heal?
Khonshu.
Khonshu is the answer to everything.
Khonshu kind of abandoned him at that point, which is kind of like a...
Oh, you're no longer of use to me. See you later.
Valid.
I'm going to take my bones elsewhere.
You're right. But yeah.
Just so people understand who have not read the series, or at least one of the series, Khonshu manifests himself as a giant bird skeleton. I know it sounds stupid, and it is, but it's awesome.
Yeah, in 2014 they started out. Before he appeared as just like a statue to him, other times he appeared as Bushmaster without a face, like egging him on, like he'll... And Charlie Houston run, which is like a really dark run where like he kills a lot of people and stuff, he appeared as just a faceless guy, and in like weird outfits like, hey, I'm Captain America, but without a face.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, and it's like he kind of like antagonized him all like, hey, if you want to do this, I'll find another avatar, or like, hey, you gotta do this. I owe you everything. I'll kill you again because I can do that because I'm a god.
I feel like was the statue of Khonshu, because I haven't actually seen a picture of the statue of Khonshu. Is it also a bird thing?
No, it's just a guy. It basically looks like Moon Knight, but with like a Egyptian headdress on.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid looking.
Oh, so why the bird bones?
It's really artistic and stylistic, and Warren Ellis liked it. And honestly, I like it more.
I mean, I like it too, but I don't understand it.
Well, I guess as like a whole like idea of the Egyptian mythology and like a bird kind of looks cool. I don't know, like the bones, like it kind of looks like a mummified, I guess, like a mummified bird.
See,
it's creepy and kind of adds like a kind of like a horror to Khonshu, like an ominimity to him, I think. Like it's this dead bird skeleton, and it kind of hits you kind of like a creep factor. Like, is this guy on his side, or is he like manipulating him?
Totally manipulating. I'm on the side of totally manipulating.
Yeah, totally. If you once you get more and get the Jeff Lemire run of Moon Knight, you'll see how far it goes. But
see, this is why I think it would never be good to turn Moon Knight's story into a movie, because they would do the inevitable thing, which is what we talked about, I think, the last episode, and they will try to do an origin story. And right then and there, I think it would ruin the seriousness of his character. Really, what they should do is make a movie where the story just doesn't even explain him, and he just has some kind of strange being egging him on and manifesting his different frightening forms as he just goes about doing Khonshu's will.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. That would be way better than I think trying to build him up like some kind of superhero. Because he's just, it's not the same.
I agree, yeah. Pay more on the whole, like, kind of like supernatural, psychological thriller kind of aspect. Like,
exactly.
Is he crazy, or is there actually a Khonshu? Because I kind of touch on it a little bit, like, is Mark Spector crazy, or is there a Khonshu? Which is interesting, because at one point, like, Mark Spector had, like, superpowers, because, like, a Khonshu was, like, as the moon gets bigger, more fuller, as phases of the moon happen, you'll get strength, but at one point, he, like, taking that away. You're not getting that anymore. Which is a question, like, did he ever actually have it? I don't know, but yeah.
It was all Khonshu.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing is that I think the movie would be the most successful if, you know, it gave you just enough information that it felt like you were learning things about Moon Knight, but you never really learn anything.
I think Christian Bale could do a really good touch on that.
Yeah, and you could like keep egging on the viewer, and something at the end kind of does an Inception moment where really
Nolan.
everything you did know, actually you didn't know. Oh, see, but if it was Christopher Nolan, then you would get even more. You'd get even more comparisons to Batman.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be worse for the character, I think. But
I think that Christopher Nolan would be able to separate the two, though. There's definitely more supernatural in.
I feel like a lot of what Christopher Nolan does, like modern, still gets compared to Batman on his own. Like Interstellar, it's like Batman. I don't know, like it's not as good as The Dark Knight. I don't know.
I think it's good.
It was good.
It made me cry.
Valid.
The scene where he watches his daughter grow up is powerful as hell.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, everyone's seen it now. But
have they?
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Christopher Nolan would be able. Think about. It's true that Moon Knight is a lot like Batman, but Batman is kind of like the nihilistic. There is no gods and there are no meanings to anything version of Moon Knight, where Moon Knight is more like that there are things that we don't understand, and there are like crazy things out there that are just not possible and frightening.
I think the whole idea of him having dissociative identity disorder, which is multiple personalities, also kind of like plays into the whole like them being different. I also feel like they're motivated for different reasons, which I touch on that later.
We should definitely explain that, because that's a very integral part of his character.
His identities?
Yeah. Which
so,
I don't even understand fully.
Yeah, valid. So when the character started off and his own comic series, he developed 3 different secret identities. Mark Spector, the renowned mercenary, was one identity. People are like, oh, it's Mark Spector. If you need someone to protect you, hire Mark Spector.
What was his original name again?
Mark Spector.
Okay, so he just picked the name again.
He kept Mark Spector as the mercenary who made all the blood money.
Yeah.
He also came with the idea of, like, I need someone to be into high society, a good, like, playboy personality, a good Bruce Wayne personality, which he created. Steve Grant, a billionaire playboy who runs around, does dumb things sometimes, starts his own TV show about Moon Knight in Hollywood. It happened. It was actually really cool. But people don't like that run, apparently, except for me. It's all okay. It's okay. I'm fine. He's just been a playboy who like made jokes and was really charming and stuff. And there's one comic, and I don't know, he's really charming, things like that. Then the third personality he kind of made was a guy named Jake Lockley, which is kind of like the underbelly, gets in with his hands dirty taxi driver, which he's kind of like, he has all the underworld informers like, hey, do you know about all these gangsters coming up around town? Like, oh yeah, Jake, you're not a good guy. This is what's happening. He wore a fake mustache too, which is kind of like ridiculous, but hey. But to kind of play on his like, as like the personalities of like, Jake Lockley's kind of like the lawfully evil, chaotically evil. Mark Spector's like the neutrally good, and I don't know. That makes sense.
Yeah. Although I think
and then there's the Moon Knight personality.
I think it's definitely better to compare him to compare the different personalities to kind of their purpose, because it does seem like there is definitely a purpose to each one to kind of fulfill different wills of Khonshu, maybe.
Yeah, I think so, or at least help him in Moon Knight's ability to fulfill Khonshu's role, because that Khonshu wants Mark Spector to work, and the personalities help him do things, I guess. But you kind of start off as like. When he started, they were just identities. They were just like secret identities. Like he's got 3 of them, but after a while, it kind of gone to more terms like, are these just different psyches, like a different like a part of his psychology? Like they became a point where they were just his dissociative identities. He would switch out on a moment's notice, like, oh, I'm Jake Lockley now. which is kind of like debilitating and kind of took over his life and ruined a lot of his relationships.
But I mean, in the series I read, there was the nurse that was talking to him that said that it wasn't at all that disorder and that it had everything to do with Khonshu.
Ooh, more on how much of that nurse later in the comic, by the way.
Well, I don't know anything about that yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like he doesn't actually have any disorder at all. Maybe he doesn't even have any personality. Maybe he truly did die and he's just a vessel that Khonshu is using. And Khonshu might not be able to fully resist some of the different personality traits that are kind of the baggage of the vessel that he's taken over in, but can kind of accentuate certain parts of his personality when he needs to. Because maybe he doesn't fully understand human emotion to,
That's an interesting take. I personally think that from what I've read, Mark Spector is alive and he has those personalities, which the nurse is like, oh, you don't just, cash dissociative identity disorder, you're born with it, which is an interesting take on that. But in some comics, he has those identities. In the Lemire run he does, Lemire's a great run. Like, he has Moon Knight locked in Mental Institute, but he has that identity as a kid. He's like, his dog's like, who are you talking to, Mark? Oh, my friend Steve. He's like, Mark, there's no one there. But you can see Steve Grant as a kid, like, talking to Mark Spector, which is interesting, I think. And Khonshu's there sometimes, apparently, which I feel like, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really
Well, I mean, if Khonshu is a god, then it's possible that Khonshu is like one of those, what do you call it? All-knowing. Omnipotent. So Khonshu can see that Moon Knight's going to become, his
avatar.
His avatar. Waiting. So he just he influences his life from the very beginning, knowing that that's where it's going to be, and kind of molds him into what he wants him to be.
That's valid. I think it's really interesting. It really plays the whole dynamic of is he crazy or is he possessed by Khonshu?
The interesting thing that really disproves my theory is when Moon Knight and Khonshu were talking to each other. That kind of disproves my theory. But it could be like kind of a Trinity situation where it manifests as like different but the same kind of things.
Yeah, like he just sees them and talks to them.
Yeah.
And the newest run by Max Bemis, he talks to all three personalities in his head sometimes, which a lot of people didn't like because it made him like, LOL, Moon Knight Deadpool-y? Why not? And let's put Khonshu in a fisherman's hat and have him fish for a bit, which I love. But I don't know.
I don't know. I feel that maybe that would work even better if Moon Knight and Deadpool were to team up for some reason.
Yeah, and the personalities, you're right, it would be a bit better for that, but Moon Knight's more of a serious character, I think. That's what people prefer for him.
Well, that's why I would like it, because Deadpool would have a lot to bounce off of. You always need a straight man in a comedy kind of situation.
Yeah.
So that's why Moon Knight, the contrast between how brutally serious Moon Knight is and how silly Deadpool is would be perfect, in my opinion, I think.
I agree with that, yeah.
Especially since Moon Knight is not a super popular character, so it's less difficult to ruin him necessarily. Like if you were to pick a serious character who was super popular, like say Batman, for example, and team him up with Deadpool, that would be amazing to see Batman and Deadpool together. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people would be very upset by that because they consider Batman to be sacred.
That's valid. I can understand that take on that.
Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, Marvel's been doing more of a not so serious approach with a lot of their characters recently because they've seen that sell with the movies with the whole like,
which is frustrating.
It's kind of frustrating, but
yeah, and that's something that would be why there should be a separation between Moon Knight and the MCU possibly, because I think that he would definitely get tainted by all the jokes and trying to. You could never gear a Moon Knight movie for kids, ever. I mean, there are literal heads exploding in the comics.
He's appeared in the Spider-Man Kids cartoon before, which is...
Really?
Yeah, he's kind of more a joke like, I am Moon Knight, I am brooding, which is kind of like joke like, silly Moon Knight, I think he's crazy, I think he'd kill me. I love him. Khonshu demands it, but speaks to the moon.
See, but that's, I don't know. I feel like that's more of a parody than anything.
I think it's great. I love it. Because honestly, he's like that sometimes. Like, who are you talking to, Moon Knight? Oh, nobody. But
Khonshu.
There's this one comic.
He's my
so Marvel's doing this thing called Infinity Wars, where Gamora turns evil. Spoiler alert. And tries to, like, destroy the universe, because, you know, Infinity War's happening one time for that. But there's a scene where she, like the superheroes together, and Spider-Man and Moon Knight are staying next to each other, and Gamora's, like, God mode, like, energy sword, Infinity Gauntlet, things like that. And Moon's like, I kind of just zoned out. What's going on? And Spider-Man's just like, Gamora's trying to take over the family's business. Don't worry about it. He's like, I picked a bad time to zone. Who's Gamora? And Spider-Man's just like, listen, just punch whoever I'm punching in a second, okay? And then
it's like, is this happening at night? Do I care?
No. I kind of just like space on
travelers.
I kind of just space. Khonshu said something to me, and it was funny. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I know.
Khonshu's like, I don't care.
It's
about
that kind of comedy I kind of enjoy, because like people are like, let's make fun of Moon Knight a little bit. Let's do it. Which is it's open season for him, I think.
I mean, I see that. I wouldn't want any of his actual like comics by themselves to be silly like that, though.
Yeah, that's the problem people have with Max Bemis' run, because it was kind of silly, because he took Bushmaster and made him kind of like chubby and like kind of depresses, like, I'm too scared of Moon Knight now. I'm just gonna push drugs. I'm sad. Oh no, Moon Knight! He cut my face off.
Oh no!
Which is reasonable. Like, if someone cut my face off, I'd be like really scared of him, because like, I killed him once, but also he cut my face off.
Whoopsie, Moon Knight cut my face off. Oopsie doopsie.
What, Raggy? Who win in a fight, Carl from Lomas with Hats or Moon Knight in face cutting?
Ooh. Well, I mean, Carl literally had a factory.
Carl
wins.
I don't know. But yeah, it's too dark for probably Horizon Radio, so we'll get out that subject probably.
I mean, Moon Knight itself is probably too dark for Horizon Radio.
Yeah. So he's been through a lot of teams. He was on the Defenders for a bit, which I said earlier. Defenders are kind of like Marvel's superhero team that's like, we're not a team. We only get together when we have to. So, like, first it was like Hulk, Doctor Strange, Namor, and Silver Surfer. People were like, they have a big revolving roster. A bunch of like people are like, I don't want to be on a team. I guess I'll help the Defenders. It's fine. And then he was on the West Coast Avengers, which was a short-run series where Hawkeye took a team, put them on the West Coast, and it's kind of like, we're the West Coast Avengers. Someone's got to defend the West Coast. Let's go surfing, guys.
That's like Teen Titans East.
Yeah, it's basically what it is, yeah. Teen Titans East. And then
didn't they do that first? Like, didn't the Teen Titans literally do the multiple teams thing first? I'm pretty sure they did.
Possibly. I think it was around the same time, probably, so they have a knack of, like, kind of copying off each other. Like, they released the character Swamp Thing and Man Thing 1 month apart, and the two characters who created them were roommates at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Which is interesting. We'll touch on that on Halloween, but...
Man Thing.
Ooh. He's thick. Yeah, and he's been part of the Secret Avengers, which is like an Avengers Black Ops team, which they need at some point, I guess. I don't know. And Heroes for Hire.
The Avengers were already pretty secret. I mean, everyone knew about them, but at the same time, they were secret.
It's like the team of Avengers are going to do the things that the Avengers can't do. Like, hey, let's assassinate someone to save the world.
Ooh, that would be a cool place for Moon Knight.
It's really cool. Anyway, yeah. And he has a kind of a small supporting characters which don't really stick, which he has the love of his life, Marlene, which is the daughter of the Murdochiologist who Bushmaster killed. Kind of on again, off again, depending. Like, sometimes they're like, I love you. Then sometimes it's like, angsty, I hate you. And sometimes abusive. It's kind of sad, depending on who's writing. I don't like it when they do it like that.
But it makes sense, unfortunately, as part of his character.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
If you take his character seriously, and if he's truly an anti-hero, then, and if he's truly disturbed like that, as horrible as that is, that's kind of definitely the way it would go.
That's valid, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. But, I mean, I see it, and I that's part of the reason why if you make him a joke one time, and then if you make him serious another, it makes, one of them is going to eventually have to be like, okay, we can't have him literally abusing people, and then also, he's just looking up at the moon. Hey, Khonshu, what's up? How you doing? Sorry, wasn't talking to anybody. You can't have both those things.
Yeah.
It would almost be better if he didn't do any collaborating with any of the Avengers. Like, maybe they acknowledge that, yes, S.H.I.E.L.D. exists and the Avengers exist in Moon Knight's comics, but the Avengers have no idea who he is.
Oh, they know who he is.
I know, but
because they see him as the crazy guy who you shouldn't trust. Or, like...
Yeah.
Like, at one point, in West Coast Avengers, he wasn't Mark Spector. Khonshu was possessing him at that point, which kind of made him, like, a lot darker. Like, he's like, you all won't do the things you have to save the world. And they're like, whoa, Moon Knight. Chill out, honey.
Why does Moon Knight, or rather Khonshu, even care about saving the world? He just cares about the moon.
Because he needs he wants power, and he wants... Well, his goal as a god was to protect Travis of the Night, as you said. So humans are important to him, but also he wants to keep his power as a god. So if people fear Khonshu, then he keeps his power, or at least they know who he is. Because Mark Spector is his most devoted follower. That's it.
Yeah, I see that. That's true.
But yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. In one comic, Marlene sees Mark put on Bushmaster's severed face on his face. He's like, nope, I'm out of here. This is valid.
In the comic I read, I'm pretty sure, her name is Marlene, right?
Yeah, Marlene.
She was like, it was one of those situations where she was like, yeah, I don't talk to him anymore. We don't talk to each other. That kind of thing.
That's valid, yeah.
And then I don't know who, there was like a guy who was like a waiter.
Oh, the French, that's Frenchie. His
oh,
yeah, so
that's
Jean-Paul Duchamp was his friend in the Mercenary, and he's for the longest time he was his pilot of his mooncopter, which is kind of separated for different reasons. Kind of like got his legs taken out. And also...
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know. I felt like he was someone of importance, because why would he just be visiting this random dude at a French restaurant?
Nah, he was his former pilot and good friend.
Okay, that makes sense.
But Moon Knight pushed him away.
Was he always gay?
They revealed that in a 2006 run where...
Okay.
Yeah, where Moon Knight cut people's faces off and stuff.
Because I know Marvel sometimes has problems with...
No, Duchamp's great.
Changing characters.
No.
Okay.
No, it was fine. It made sense.
Okay.
But yeah. And then we have Gina and Sons. They own a diner, and it's kind of just like an informant. And then Bertrand Crawley, which is a homeless wise man who acts like he's rich and stuff, but is also an informant of Moon Knight, and that's really about it, honestly, of his 2 point characters. Besides, enemies. We have like a lot of enemies. Besides, like the committee happens sometimes. Bushmaster's his biggest enemy. Occasionally, the werewolf comes back,
and also that the what's his name? Midnight. Yeah.
Which was
something that sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's all good.
Something that he did say in the one that the comics that I read was that anyone who gets close to him or loves him ends up dying or something like that,
or getting hurt,
hurt. And he said he didn't want anyone to love him, which is, I think, partially why he constantly has this kind of cast of characters that doesn't really get too close to him, because they all kind of die.
He's too devoted to Khonshu.
Anyone who works with him ends up getting severely injured, or something happens.
Pushed away, brokenhearted.
Yeah.
Dies.
And that's it would be, you know what? I definitely disagree with, the more I think about it, the more I disagree with the idea of making his character light, because then all of his his relationships that are in the story no longer mean anything, or they don't have as much meaning, maybe? Or am I crazy for saying that?
I think that makes sense, yeah. It's a good philosophy on that. He shouldn't be a joke. I feel like he's allowed to make jokes, like maybe dark jokes, like, my trenching costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Use a different one. I'll use your own.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like small things like that. But it shouldn't be a comedy book, I think. Like, you shouldn't be written for a sick comedy. Like, throw comedy in a little bit, because, like, humans tell jokes sometimes when they're under stress.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing, but, like, or Khonshu could make a joke like, insect.
Yeah.
Mark Spector, I don't know, but he actually loves them. I don't know.
It's definitely, like, his story is definitely a tragedy. It's definitely not a light story.
I like that idea, the tragedy of Mark Spector.
More of a tragedy than even Batman. Like, Batman has people who kind of care for him and are there for him. Moon Knight doesn't have any of that.
That's valid.
Now, who would win in a fight? Batman or Moon Knight?
Batman. Batman's more skilled in general.
Is he?
Yeah, it's been given, like, Batman will beat Moon Knight no matter what, pretty much. Like,
You
Moon
think
Knight's
so?
Moon Knight's a good fighter, and he'd honestly take a punch rather than blocking it, though. Which you mentioned that, like, so there's a guy named Taskmaster who copies fighting styles and things, because he can copy it because he's superpower like that. But He's like, I don't like copying Moon Knight because he'd rather take a punch than block it. Because he's like, he wants pain, I think. I don't know.
I think that's partially why maybe Moon Knight would have a better chance than you're saying. I'm not saying Moon Knight would beat Batman, but Moon Knight literally has the power of a god behind him, and the god that can drive him to do anything. Like, anything. So,
yeah,
Batman has
Alfred.
Batman has a code of conduct.
Batman has Alfred.
So?
Khonshu, Alfred wins.
No.
Yeah.
Khonshu is a god. Alfred is a fat butler.
Alfred... Take that back right now. You take that back right now. Mark... No. Alfred served his country in World War II.
Maybe once he wasn't a fat butler, but he is currently a fat butler.
No, we're going to leave it at that, but yeah.
No,
Batman's a better fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you break every single limb in Moon Knight's body, I think the Moon Knight will still continue to go after you.
Probably, I don't know. But Batman's also like Batman.
And didn't Khonshu occasionally give Moon Knight certain powers depending upon the run?
Yeah, but he took those away.
But he could give them back.
He probably won't, though.
If Khonshu needs Moon Knight, so if Moon Knight goes after Batman,
does he though? Because you kind of touch on like, and I'm not gonna spoil the rest of the series for you because like kind of touch on like, can Khonshu have more avatars? It's a good question, but I'm not gonna spoil anything for you.
I think. Well, I guess I just don't know.
You have to read the run more. Well, more on that later.
Khonshu could probably have more avatars, though.
It's an interesting take on that. Like, if Mark Spector's not doing what he has to for Khonshu, does Khonshu really need him? Can it go to someone else?
But I think that considering how long it took Khonshu to kind of... If we're going with my theory that Khonshu had been developing Spector from a young age to be his perfect follower, it probably takes a long time, because otherwise you might end up with some depressed white guy in khakis who just doesn't know anything. And
a lot of people think that Khonshu actually drove Mark Spector crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think it takes that because there's no one in the modern era that's going to start following just some random bird thing.
Because
comics, and but in the end, even in comics, I'd say that the average Joe is still the average Joe. So I feel like because Moon Knight is Khonshu's only follower right now, one of them anyway, one of the few, I think that Khonshu would have a really hard time replacing him. Oh,
I thought of it. I was going to mention something earlier because we're talking about his identities and stuff, and like it shouldn't mix with like other characters in continuity. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean like derail us right now. I saw it just now because I was trying to think what happened, but I forgot about it. Is it okay?
I think that was the end of my end of my spiel.
So in Civil War, which is a big comic book event, where like here's like you either registrate or you go and put in prison. Well, Khonshu's like, listen, Mark, you're going to registrate because they can't mess with us. But part of the registration is like you have to go to a psych exam, which like Moon Knight's not going to pass that. He's not going to pass the psych exam. No. But the guy's like, to his psychologist is like, hey, can I speak to Jake Lockley? And he's like, yeah, sure. Goes to Jake Lockley. He's like, listen here, punk. And then he's like, can I speak to Mark Spector? They're all laughing like, oh. Then I took the lady back to my apartment. And then I was too drunk to do anything else. Like, oh, laughing and stuff. And like, he's like, yeah, you totally failed this, Mark. So he works, and then Khonshu takes over and is like, listen here, you insect, and like intimidates the psychologist and says like, yeah, you're going to pass now because that's scary. Then kills himself. But yeah, because Khonshu's like, listen, if you don't pass this, you're getting away with my will, and you don't want to mess with the will of Khonshu, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think that Moon Knight might be theoretically capable of anything, not because Moon Knight, but because Khonshu.
Khonshu's still limited in his power, though. Like he's never actually taken a physical form, I think, besides in Khonshu's side of Mark Spector's head.
But Khonshu can drive Moon Knight to any length. So that means even very self-destructive lengths.
Yeah, definitely self-destructive.
So anything that is within Moon Knight's power to do, even to the point of completely destroying himself, if Khonshu can help heal him, which I think he can, right?
Yeah, he brought him back from the dead.
Yeah, so Khonshu can help heal him. If Moon Knight can within human strength, Moon Knight can do anything.
Yeah. Like, he made Khonshu fly a plane to a building one just to intimidate Taskmaster, which is kind of funny. So, like, the committee hired Taskmaster to kill Moon Knight. And so, like, They're saying, like, Taskmaster, you messed up, you failed, and Taskmaster's, like, staring out the window like, oh, God, because there's Moon Knight and his moon plane about to fly into the building. It's
and then Moon Knight was okay.
Yeah. He's
of
like,
course.
I'm going to beat you up, Taskmaster.
Wow.
Cut off your fake face. Which happened.
Any character who is limited to their human strength is probably will eventually lose to Moon Knight if they don't just cut Moon Knight up into little itty-bitty pieces that can't regenerate.
In theory, yeah.
In theory.
I think it'd be interesting to take, like, I wish Moon Knight was more popular because they could touch on it more, like, how would Moon Knight stand against the Punisher? Because they're both really similar. It's like, they're not going to back down. Because, one, Moon Knight's like Khonshu, and Punisher's just like, I don't know anything to live for, but also criminals.
Realistically, I think Khonshu would back down in order to protect his follower.
Yeah.
But if you forced them to fight, if the only option was for one of them to win, I think that in the end, Moon Knight would win against Batman. End of story.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, so the question is he crazy? We don't know. Because he has a lot of personalities over the years. Because, like, I have a list of them real quick. So he has Mark Spector as one personality. Jake Lockley has one. Steve Grant, Moon Knight. At one point, Khonshu was in question as a personality. Like, we don't really know. Mr. Knight, which is, like, he created, like, a streetwise, like, so Moon Knight can't work the police because he's Moon Knight, he's wanted. But Mr. Knight, he's unrelated. It's a cool thing. He wears, like, a white tuxedo and stuff.
Yeah,
and like,
I saw that one.
White, I love it. It's really cool. A lot of people like that character. And at one point, when Brian Michael Bendis wrote it...
He acts more like a detective than anything.
Yeah, like a detective. It's really cool.
He's like Sherlock Holmes, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and what happened was when Brian Michael Bendis wrote it, so Bendis is known for, like I don't like your continuity, I'm going to make my own. So Gardo Khonshu is just like Mark Spector. His identities are Captain America, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. Which is just like, it was kind of weird, but also kind of cool. I kind of liked it.
It is a little weird.
But it wasn't Moon Knight, though, but... It's worth the read.
I just, you know what, I don't even think that he's insane, because I think I'm in the camp that Moon Knight isn't even alive, and it's all just Khonshu.
I disagree, but hey.
I think it's all the works of Khonshu.
Yeah. And he also set up side identities of Iron Man at the end of that run, and also the character of Echo, which Echo's a really cool character. I want to talk about her one day, but there's not really much on her, because Echo is a deaf superhero who can, like, copy anyone's movements, like Taskmaster.
I think that's ironic that it's called Echo, but she's deaf.
Yeah, it's really cool. She was made in Daredevil, and it was a really cool touch because like she can like echo your movements, I guess, or like she's just an echo.
Because,
I don't know.
So it's like a superpower?
It's something he's born with, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like photographic reflexes. I don't know, but Echo.
Interesting.
Which. Yeah.
I've never heard of Echo before.
No one has, honestly. It's these D-list. She was an Avenger at one point.
Really?
Because they're like, so Bendis was writing the Avengers, and she had like a secret character like called a Ronin, which has like a black suit, samurai, so he's going to be the new Avengers. And no one knew who he was. Like, oh, it's totally Daredevil. It's Daredevil. And Bendis was like kind of fed up. It's like, okay, actually, it's Echo. But no one knew who Echo was.
I think Echo was also a Ben 10 alien.
Probably. Different person. Maybe the same person. I don't know. But yeah.
Man,
so yeah.
That would be a crazy
Is he
crossover.
Marvel's Batman? I don't think so. Like, they have similar powers, similar degrees, but I think the identity is different. The whole, like, dissociative identity disorder and things like that.
Yeah.
Your take, go for it.
I think that when it comes to whether or not it's similar to Batman, I think it's kind of Moon Knight's kind of similar to Batman in the same way that fascism is similar to communism. Like,
valid.
They're like similar but completely opposite at the same time.
Yeah. One of the reasons I think they're different is why they're fighting their vengeance crimes. So Batman fights to seek vengeance on people who murdered his parents. Like, that's why he fights, like, over the murder of his parents.
Yeah.
I think Moon Knight fights for two reasons, depending on who's writing. One, because Khonshu wants him to, and second off, he did a lot of bad things as a mercenary, and as Moon Knight too, like carving people's faces up and being a mercenary. And I think he's fighting to be a better person. I think to be something better. I think that's why. That's my take. He's fighting to be better.
Well, I feel like, if I'm sticking with the idea that he's not even alive, then I think that maybe that might be true, because of the echoes of like the husk of what's left of him kind of controlling the will of Khonshu a little bit and molding it to kind of what Moon Knight would want.
I feel like,
but I still think that it's mostly Khonshu.
That's great. That's valid. I feel like the more you read, that theory is going to fall loose on you.
Probably.
But yeah.
But I'm probably going to hold on to it very tightly.
You're going to like the Lemire run, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that's just my opinion, Ali. That's just our opinion. So
I'm gonna maybe after I finish reading like everything that ever was Moon Knight, we can do another episode and talk
don't
about
do that.
at least briefly talk about just whether or not the theory still is a thing.
Yeah, because I have a few because I wanted to like go back and touch on Alpha Flight and like I think it's like a backup episodes as we read more, but like
yeah.
We'll come back to Moon Knight eventually, we promise. But
and I can't wait to see just more of what comes out with Moon Knight because I think that the character is still being fleshed out. There's Moon Knight's kind of a blank slate, and it's got a lot of potential to be way bigger than it is. So
exactly,
it's kind of really exciting to see where they're going to continue to take the character.
Yeah. Okay. I completely agree. The world's their oyster with Moon Knight. But if you all want more Moon Knight media, so he doesn't really have a lot in terms of media, in terms of, like, other than comic books.
No.
Not at all. So if you want some good reads, is Moon Knight in the Marvel Now series by Warren Ellis. That's what Levi read.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. It's kind of like one-shots, Pulp Fiction-y kind of, like, none of the stories are kind of related, but they also are related.
They're connected, but they're different. And the art is just so freaking beautiful.
So good.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
The Dalen Salvi, Delkin,
or something.
Check it out; it's really cool. Then the sequel series was Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire. Which there's more writers after Mark Ellis, but Jeff Lemire's one was really cool because it dealt with the whole like, is he crazy? What's Khonshu's role kind of like thing. It was really the two best Moon Knight runs is either Ellis's or Jeff Lemire's. Like that's just my opinion because they're beautiful. And they're great. Psychedelic. And it's kind of like a similar to the Plato's Allegory of the Cave thing.
I think that because he's not as popular as a character, I think they were kind of allowed to do what they wanted with him, and it really created a really beautiful kind of thing.
You're right.
They were able to take risks, so it's definitely more of a piece of art.
That's what Marvel Now was risks and stuff, which Marvel Now is kind of like a reboot that they did, like rebranding, that's the word for it, in 2014.
It's really cool. Read it.
Yeah, read it. Then Moon Knight the Bottom in 2006 by Charlie Houston. It was a lot more of a darker take where he cuts up people's faces and stuff. That's the Dark Moon Knight. And then Moon Knight 2011 by Brian Michael Bendis. It's really different. I enjoyed it. It's just a different take on the character and his craziness.
That's the one where he assumes different Avengers.
Yeah, he assumes different Avengers, and he has a Hollywood movie out in Hollywood. He works out of L.A. at that point.
And we're going to tweet out the different recommended readings probably right after this.
Yeah, eventually, yes.
Eventually.
They'll be out there. They will be there. But anywho, any final comments on Moon Knight at all?
He's cool.
He's cool. He's cool. He's crazy and cool. Remember, loony rhymes with moony, but it's all good. Anyway, so like we promised, this is basically the end of our episode. We have about less than 2 minutes left. And so next week, as we promised, we're going to be back with the X-Men. So last week we talked about the original X-Men movies the best we could. Then we're going to talk about the newer ones coming up next week.
And maybe we'll even have time to talk about the weird timeline stuff.
Oh gosh, I hope so.
Oh man.
And we got to talk about the Wolverine. Because I love that movie.
Oh my gosh. Gosh. And a little bit more on Wolverine in Japan.
That's what I meant, the Wolverine.
Oh, and the original one, the origin one too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about so much next week. Like, we're going to better plan it out. It's going to be great. Be sure to listen in, and hopefully we don't have to do a third episode.
Yeah. So follow us on Twitter at @on_heroes and on the gram at heroes_on_the_horizon.
Heroes on the horizon. Instead of spaces, put underscores. There we go.
Yes, exactly.
We go. So listen to us, and then closing statements. Thank you for listening, guys. We'll see you on the radio, and Levi, want to say goodbye? Bye. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, I don't love you. I love you so much. Platonically, I love you. We're bros. Anyway, bye guys. Thank you. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with X-Men. Thank you. Here's back to the music. I think we have music coming up.
You're listening to the best college radio station, Horizon Radio, broadcasting from Indiana University Southeast, New Albany.